Is there any conceivable scenario in which you think Julian Sayin pushes Will Howard in August?
I don't think August. I think if anything, you would see a Trevor Lawrence kind of scenario from a handful of years ago where he was not the starter at the beginning of the season. The offense just isn't clicking the way that Clemson thought. And so you turn to the talented freshman. Caleb Williams, another example, taking the job from Spencer Rattler a couple of years ago at Oklahoma. I think that is probably the most likely scenario if Julian Sayin does take over the job at some point this season. I've talked with various guys that are also on the beat, and the consensus seems to be that Oregon game for Ohio State in mid-October, because the schedule is pretty light up until that point. That's when I think everyone thinks, okay, this is when we'll see if Ohio State is really what we think they are, or if there's still some issues here. And that's specifically about the quarterback, maybe the offensive line and linebackers as well. If that game goes poorly and Will Howard maybe hasn't looked, assuming Will Howard wins the job, I think Devin Brown's still in this conversation. If Will Howard hasn't looked the part, that could be maybe where you consider shifting things. Now, Ryan Day, over his tenure, both as an offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach and head coach, hasn't been inclined to make those big shifts in terms of personnel. They've often stuck with, assuming health, the guys that they started the season with. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe Chip Kelly's influence makes a difference. Now, if you're an Ohio State fan, I think you hope that Will Howard is at least as good as expected, and you don't need to go to Julian Sayin for any meaningful snaps. That doesn't mean he doesn't get some time, because I think he could, but I think that would be the best situation for his development and for this year's team to have an experienced quarterback that lives up to what you expect. But to answer your question, I think fall camp seems unlikely. Julian Sayin had some very good moments during the spring and really impressed people. But like a lot of freshmen, those were kind of up and down. He had some throws. You saw a little bit of that in the spring game where he still needs to kind of learn some things, reading defenses, stuff like that, the pace of the game, all of those things. And so if you were to throw him out there week one, now given the schedule, they open with Akron, he might be able to put up some numbers. But I think that development-wise, it's best for Julian Sayin to get some snaps this year and then compete for that starting job in a year's time.
Please like the video, folks. If you enjoy the content, subscribe here at the Voice of College Football. Follow Pat's work at Bucknuts247 Sports.